Welcome, everyone, to the virtual South County Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020. I'm Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, and I'm proud to represent you and the fabulous 5th District on the Orange County Board of Supervisors. The 5th District of Orange County includes the cities of Aliso Viejo, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, Laguna Hills, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Woods, Lake Forest, Mission Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita, San Clemente, San Juan Capistrano, and the Shady Canyon area of Irvine, as well as the unincorporated communities of Coto de Caza, Emerald Bay, Ladera Ranch, Las Flores, Rancho Mission Viejo, Stonecliff, and Wagon Wheel. In previous years, my office has co-hosted the annual South County Disaster Preparedness Expo held in the city of Mission Viejo, which featured a wide array of state-of-the-art emergency response vehicles and equipment, including exciting displays and demonstrations by our Orange County Fire Authority and Sheriff's Department, plus numerous interactive vendor booths from various organizations and thousands of attendees from throughout the 5th District. Due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, as well as state guidelines prohibiting mass gatherings, this year's event is being presented virtually on Cox Communications Channel 39, airing from September 30 through October 7 at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you miss any part of the program, you can watch it anytime on my Facebook and YouTube pages, which you can easily access by visiting my website at soupbartlett.com. That's SUPBARTLETT.com. While you're there, I encourage you to sign up to receive my weekly e-newsletter, which includes important information on a variety of issues affecting South Orange County, including COVID-19, homelessness, transportation, and much more. Our 2020 virtual South County Emergency Preparedness Summit would not have been possible without the outstanding support of Saddleback College, which we are blessed to have located right here in the fabulous 5th District. As such, I'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to Saddleback College President Elliot Stern, as well as to Ryan Brook, Manager of the Office of the President, and their media production specialists, Matthew Brode and Randy Van Dyke. Excellent job, gentlemen. In this program, you will hear from several of Orange County's leading experts on emergency preparedness during the age of COVID-19, including our County Health Officer, Dr. Clayton Chow, as well as our Orange County Sheriff, Don Barnes, Donna Boston, Director of Orange County Sheriff's Department Emergency Management Division, Fire Chief Brian Fennessy of the Orange County Fire Authority, Caroline Choi, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Southern California Edison, and Doug Bowder, Vice President and Chief Nuclear Officer for Southern California Edison. As you can see, we have an all-star lineup of presenters for our program. To kick off the virtual South County Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020, it is now my great pleasure to introduce our first presenter, Dr. Clayton Chow, who is our Orange County Healthcare Agency Director and County Health Officer. Dr. Chow will now provide an update on COVID-19 in the County of Orange.
Thank you, Supervisor Bartlett, for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Clayton Chow. I'm the Agency Director for the Orange County Healthcare Agency and your County Health Officer. Before I launch into an update for COVID-19, I'd like to remind everybody of some of the non-medical public health intervention. When you are outside of your home and not able to keep 6 feet distant from stranger, please wear a face covering, wash your hands frequently, and also follow the hygiene measure. Very important, if you don't feel well, please stay home. And then if you have no need to go outside, please stay home because COVID-19 transmission is still in our community. And so that, as you know, Orange County has been in the red tier for the last 2.5 weeks or so. With that, when we been in the red tier for 2 weeks, the state allow for our K-12 school to reopen for in-person education. And so But also important to know that parents and children also have the options of studying online should the parents don't feel comfortable to have your children go back to in-person education. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe. Thank you for doing your part, and that's why we've been able to get into the red tier, and hopefully very soon we'll be able to enter into the orange tier. And that means more business will be able to reopen. That would help our economy. As you know, we're entering into the season of the flu season. And so if any other year you did not get a flu vaccine, this year, please get a flu vaccine. Flu vaccine will be available through the Orange County. We will have sites where we give out a free flu vaccine in 5 districts in Orange County. But of course, if you have insurance as well as government insurance like Medicaid, Medicare, you should be able to get your flu vaccine through your local pharmacy, Costco, or through your primary care physicians. And so again, thank you so much for doing your part. That's the reason why we have been able to get our transmission rate down in our community. Getting our transmission down means that we can open more business and will help our economy. So do your part. Please wear a face covering when you are outside of your home and when you're not able to keep 6 feet distant from stranger. Make sure that you wash your hands frequently and follow all the hygiene measures. To keep yourself updated with the COVID-19 information, come on to our website at ochealthinfo.com. Again, the website is ochealthinfo.com. If you have any question, you can always call our hotline at 714-834-2000. The number again is 714-834-2000. Or you can send us an email to eteam@ochca.com. Again, the email address is eteam, E-T-E-A-M, @ochca.com. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Clayton Chow.
Thank you, Dr. Chow, for that informative presentation. As we both know, there are many issues associated with COVID-19, which are constantly evolving, and it can be a challenge keeping up with the newest information. I'm sure many of our viewers will also continue to have additional COVID-19 questions as time goes by. Can you please remind our residents how they can get the most current COVID-19 information they seek from the County of Orange?
Thank you so much for that question, Supervisor Bartlett. People can get information, updated information on COVID-19 by coming onto our website at ochealthinfo.com/coronavirus. Again, the website is ochealthinfo.com/coronavirus. And if you have any question, you can always call our hotline, and the number is 714-834-2000. Again, the number is 714-834-2000. Or you can also email us as eteam@ochca.com. That is ETEAM@ochca.com. Thank you.
Thank you again to our County Health Officer, Dr. Clayton Chow, as well as the great work by our Orange County Healthcare Agency. We very much appreciate all that you do. It is now my pleasure to introduce our esteemed Orange County Sheriff, Don Barnes. Sheriff Barnes was elected the 13th Sheriff Coroner for Orange County in November 2018. He is well-versed in emergency response, having served as Law Enforcement Incident Commander during the 2007 Santiago Canyon fire. Unbeknownst to many, the Sheriff Department plays the lead role in response to any major emergency in Orange County. At such times, the Sheriff also oversees the Orange County Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, as it is commonly referred to. Sheriff Don Barnes will now provide his presentation on the County of Orange's emergency response efforts.
Thank you for participating in this virtual Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020. I am pleased to join with Supervisor Bartlett, Orange County Fire Authority Chief Brian Fennessy, Healthcare Agency Director Dr. Clayton Chow, and Southern California Edison and providing important information to help you remain prepared. 2020 seems to have become the year of the emergency. California has endured a global pandemic, civil unrest, and now unprecedented fires. We have remained in an official state of emergency since March. I want to share how the county manages our response to these incidents, but first I want to thank all the members of the public who have done their part during these times of challenge. Successful response is highly dependent on your cooperation. Even though 2020 has posed some of the most challenging responses for our Orange County first responders, we remain ready to work through any disaster or emergency situation that presents itself. In Orange County, we've faced disasters before, and it is our planning, training, exercising, and continual focus on our community that makes our responders able to work through emergency incidents. Most people don't think about disasters on a daily basis, but we do, constantly planning and training for when the worst day presents itself. As your sheriff, I direct the Emergency Operations Center, which serves as the main incident command to support emergency response countywide. It is the responsibility of the EOC to make sure our communities receive help during emergency situations. Many times, these events are rapidly evolving and pose a major risk to life, safety, and property. Our response is aimed at saving lives, protecting property, and recovering for our community. Our strong partnerships in Orange County help us respond as a unified group to take swift action and make tough decisions during times of crisis and natural disaster. We coordinate with governmental agencies, nonprofit partners like the Red Cross, and even businesses to respond to and meet our community's needs. Specific readiness actions for Orange County agencies include incident management training, review of areas prone to damage like flood and fire zones throughout the county, pre-staging emergency personnel and equipment for rapid response during hazardous weather, additional training for emergency response personnel that integrates agencies to ensure communication and coordination. It is important for the community to take personal action now. Being prepared and ready is your responsibility. Make sure you have your disaster kit up to date. Register for Alert OC at alertoc.com or alertoc.org. This is our emergency notification system, and it is the way that we will advise community members of an emergency and what action to take. Evacuate if emergency responders tell you to. When we tell you to go, go. Do not wait. Every minute counts when it is time to evacuate. For additional emergency preparedness resources and information, please check with www.readyoc.com or the @ReadyOC Twitter account. Don't forget to sign up for emergency alerts. You can register at www.alertoc.com or alertoc.org. Follow the Orange County Sheriff's Department at OCSD and the Emergency Operations Center at Orange County EOC.
Thank you, Sheriff Barnes, for your presentation and everything you and your deputies do every day to keep Orange County residents safe. Speaking of our outstanding Sheriff's Department personnel, it is my pleasure to introduce Donna Boston, Director of the Sheriff's Emergency Management Division. The Emergency Management Division provides emergency management and preparedness services to the unincorporated communities of Orange County and supports the efforts of the Orange County operational area to prepare for, to respond to, and recover from disasters. Donna Boston will now provide her presentation on personal emergency preparedness.
2020 has shown that disaster impacts have been worsening, with more people affected by each emergency. This year alone, we faced a pandemic, wildfires, flooding, public safety power shutoff events, and severe weather. It's important for the community to take personal action now. Being prepared and ready is all of our responsibility. Most of us have heard this message before, and the time has come to implement our goal to be prepared. Make sure you have a disaster kit up to date. In addition to the normal emergency preparedness items such as water, food, a first aid kit, flashlight and batteries, and necessary personnel medications, Be sure to have a face mask for everyone in your family that is able to wear one. Make sure you have a battery or solar charging capability for your durable medical equipment, mobile devices, and any other equipment that you'll need to rely on. Often we lose power during a major emergency, and you'll need to have a way to charge critical equipment and devices. You can find out more information on how to build an emergency preparedness kit at readyoc.org. Keep important documents in a safe location. It is critical to ensure that you have your important personal documents in a fire safe, which can be easily transported if you have to evacuate. These documents should include identity, insurance, and financial information. Have a plan on where to meet family members and reconnect. Make sure you speak to your family about these plans and talk through different scenarios. This will help children, parents, and older family members understand what to do and how things will work in an emergency. These family emergency plans are going to be different now that many children are in school from home or in different learning environments. Talk with your family to make sure you adjust your emergency plans to incorporate changes we've all experienced. Evacuate if emergency responders tell you to. When we tell you to go, go. Do not wait. Every minute counts when it is time to evacuate. Think about where you would evacuate to if told to do so. Right now, during COVID, our normal shelters are not functioning with as much capacity. This makes your planning and preparedness even more important. Register for Alert OC at alertoc.org. This is our emergency notification system, and it is the way that we will advise community members of an emergency and what action to take. Monitor social media, TV, and weather channels for additional information during an active emergency. For additional emergency preparedness information and resources, please visit readyoc.org or the ReadyOC Twitter. And follow the Orange County Sheriff's Department at OCSD and the Orange County Emergency Operations Center at Orange County EOC.
Thank you, Donna, for your informative and timely presentation. Just a few questions for you. In recent years, fire evacuations have affected larger populations. How can our community members be prepared to evacuate?
In a sudden major emergency, you may have just minutes to gather your family and get out of your home. What would you take? Where would you go? Planning ahead for the worst can help minimize the impact of a tragedy and may save lives. There are 4 steps you can take now to be sure you can act quickly. First, arrange your evacuation ahead of time. This will require you to think about what kinds of emergencies can affect you and your family. When thinking about these, think about what routes are safest for evacuation and be sure to have a backup route. And arrange a place to meet with your family. In this time when fires are burning faster, it's also critical to know that you should evacuate if you feel you're in danger. You do not need to wait for emergency personnel to tell you to evacuate. Next, plan what to take. This will include your emergency kit, important documents, necessary medication, and comfort items. Make sure to plan for items for every member of your family and don't forget your pets. Next, create a home inventory now, before you need it. This will be necessary for insurance claims and tax purposes. Be sure to review your insurance policies annually so you know your policy well. And finally, gather your important documents. These include prescriptions, birth and marriage certificates, passports, driver's licenses, ID cards, social security cards, insurance policies, recent tax returns, employment information, wills, deeds, and other financial information. And make sure you put your home inventory in there as well. Orange County is an urban area, and that means we have a high population that will be affected by a disaster situation. If you play that through, it means that it is even more critical to plan and be prepared for an emergency. 2020 has shown us how fragile our supply chains are, and that when we need utilities the most, they can fail, and we'll have to rely on ourselves to get through an emergency situation.
Donna, as emergency preparedness has evolved over the years, what are the critical steps that people can take to truly be prepared?
Steps that I think are critical are having a battery or solar charging capability for critical devices. This includes any durable medical equipment, phones, and computers, making sure to have a good first aid kit with larger bandages, and taking the time to work out your personal emergency plan and speak with your family and friends about it. And having a neighborhood network where you can provide help or rely on the help of others can make a huge difference in a major emergency. Finally, in addition to your emergency plan and kit, get trained in first aid, CPR, and disaster response through your local community emergency response team program.
Lastly, what are the best sources of information during an emergency?
Emergency situation is affecting you directly. You will want as much factual information as possible. Above all, you need to be registered for your public safety emergency notification system. In Orange County, we call it Alert OC. You can register for Alert OC at alertoc.org, and we use that to provide necessary, life-saving emergency information. In addition to Alert OC, you'll want to follow public safety agencies such as the Orange County Sheriff's Department and Orange County Fire Authority on Twitter. Since public safety agencies can post directly to Twitter, you'll receive updates quickly during a rapidly evolving situation. There are a few other agencies that I recommend following on Twitter, and that would be the city you live in, the County of Orange, local news channels, the U.S. Forest Service, Cleveland National Forest, your utility providers, and the Orange County Healthcare Agency.
Thank you again, Donna, for all that excellent information and everything you do. In addition to serving on the Orange County Board of Supervisors, I also serve on various other boards, committees, and commissions, including the Orange County Fire Authority Board of Directors. As such, I can tell you that in Orange County, we are fortunate to have a fire chief the caliber of Brian Fennessy, who is fire chief for the Orange County Fire Authority. OCFA provides emergency services for 23 cities and the unincorporated communities of Orange County, protecting nearly 2 million residents. Chief Fennessy began his illustrious fire service career over 40 years ago when he started as a hotshot crew member. In 1990, Brian Fennessy joined the San Diego Fire Rescue Department and ultimately became chief of the department in 2015. Chief Fennessy became Orange County's fire chief just a little over 2 years ago, bringing with him a wealth of experience in both wildland firefighting and metropolitan fire service. And we're very lucky to have him with us here today. Chief Fennessy will now provide his presentation on wildland fire preparedness in Orange County.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Supervisor Bartlett for this opportunity to share a little bit about our wildland fire situation and preparedness, and also a bit about COVID and how that's affecting wildland fire fighting, not just here in Orange County, but throughout the state and throughout the United States for that matter. I've been a firefighter since 1978, let's just say for a long time. And I've never seen the type of wildfires that we've been experiencing over the last 10 to 15 years. As I stand here in mid-September, the most historic, we're right in the middle of the most historic fire season in California in recorded history. To kind of give you a sense of what that means is that the biggest fire year in terms of acreage burnt in the state of California is just under about 2 million acres. It's mid-September and we've already exceeded 3 million acres burned in the state. We have large wildland fires burning throughout the state of California. The mutual aid system is stressed. And regrettably, we've got 3 to 4 months to go before typically our rains will arrive. So this is a very timely opportunity to speak to everybody and to share, again, a bit about preparedness and what to do if you are to experience a wildland fire. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but California has over 2 million households at extreme risk for wildfires. That makes it the most wildfire-prone state in the nation. And all of us need to be prepared for that. Not just during the summer months when more of the attention is called, but throughout the year. I mean, we have a year-round fire season. It is not uncommon anymore for California to experience fires all months of the year. And the biggest danger, the largest group of residents and businesses exposed are those folks that live, that have their businesses right on the edge of, the wildland areas, whether that be, these islands, these open space islands that maybe people don't pay attention to in the middle of their communities, or fires that come out of the, wilderness areas or the unincorporated areas. All of these homes, are at risk. I like to say that 32% of all California housing units and 30% of the population are located what we call these wildland urban interface, or what you'll hear us say is the WUI. Again, I mentioned the number of fires, but let me give you another comparison. Just last year in 2019, we had a bit over 7,800 wildfires that burnt, in California for about 260,000 acres. And it resulted in 3 fatalities, sadly, and 730 plus structures destroyed. To date, again, as I stand here, nearly the same number of fires, but in mid-September. We're not even done yet, and we burned over 3 million acres. 6,400 structures are damaged or destroyed, and thus far we've experienced 20 fatalities in the state, and it's quite likely that sadly, that number is going to go up in the coming weeks due to fires that have literally destroyed towns in the northern area of the state. I get asked often is, what does it look like this year with pandemic, especially as we were getting into the season? How is it going to be different this year, given firefighters being prepared for the pandemic when they're out fighting these fires? Again, I mentioned the state mutual aid system, most robust in the world. And we here in Orange County, like so many other fire departments, we contribute to that mutual aid system because, while we may not be experiencing a large or several wildfires now, we certainly can be. That's been our history, and we certainly will be. That's our future, and we're going to need the help. So when we send our firefighters out to go assist, again, not just in mutual aid, but to assist on local fires, we're now preparing them with having enough PPE, personal protective equipment, on the apparatus, on their person. We didn't do that before this year. There was no need to, but with the pandemic, we know that they're not always going to have access to a station, a store, or other places where they can get that PPE. They've got to have that with them. They've got to ensure that they're not cross-contaminating food and water. We don't share water out of the same canteens anymore. We're not sharing bites of food, those sorts of things that were not uncommon. We're trying to limit the amount of exposure our firefighters have when they're out, fighting fire and participating in mutual aid. If you were to visit one of our fire camps here throughout the state, you're going to notice something different this year. You're going to see social distancing in these camps. You're going to see a much smaller number at these briefings. We've probably all seen the photos and the videos in the past of dozens, if not hundreds, of people being briefed about that day's fire plan. You won't see that anymore. It's being done virtually. Just those that have to be there are present, and you'll see them all wearing face masks. And really, most importantly, is we need to self-monitor. Our firefighters, if they're feeling a bit under the weather, if they're feeling any kind of symptoms, they need to raise their hand and they need to tell somebody. As we all know now, the pandemic, COVID-19, can be spread even by those that are asymptomatic. So certainly if somebody is experiencing symptoms, we need to get them removed, we need to quarantine them, we need to test them, we need to do those sorts of things. I mentioned a little bit about the fire statistics. I'm going to give you one here for Orange County, a little bit closer to home. Since 1982, we've had over 180,000 acres burned here in Orange County. We've had 622 homes damaged or destroyed from preventable wildfires. What do I mean by preventable wildfires? I mean those fires that are human caused, but perhaps accidentally. Those individuals that decide they're going to take care of their defensible space, maybe at the wrong time of year, maybe on a hot, dry day when the vegetation is dried out. Using some of the equipment that we have, chainsaws, rotary equipment, it doesn't take but a spark from trying to do the right thing, a well-intended activity, before a fire will take off and run on us. We've got tall grass here in the county. It does rain and grass does grow, But you back that car into a turnout or an area off the road that has that dry vegetation, you can start a fire. And I can't begin to tell you how fast fires spread nowadays. I mean, they've always spread quickly. It's a question I get all the time. Can I share how fast that fire runs? And I will tell you that people and even firefighters underestimate just how fast fire spread is nowadays. You may think that if you accidentally start a fire, you can suppress it very quickly, and I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. We are seeing, fire spread now, 14 miles an hour. In other words, you're not going to be able to outrun these fires. We're seeing fire spread in ways that we haven't, and again, I've been doing this for a long, long time. Every model that we have has largely been broken. We've been experiencing a drought here in California. I know we were out of it this year, but we went several years, of drought. And the vegetation here in California, and especially in Southern California, is what we call drought resistant. We live in a desert climate, and the vegetation has ways of protecting itself. But after that many years of drought, that vegetation dies. And once it's dead, it doesn't come back. We do get rain, and so what you'll see in the spring are green hillsides, green vegetation. Well, that dead vegetation, what we call fuel, is under that very green, very lush looking environment. It hasn't gone anywhere. So it dries out. Summertime we get fires, and we start to see the types of fire spread. We start to see fires get larger than we ever have before. Again, this is just a epic and unprecedented fire season we're experiencing. We'd really encourage all of you out there to be extra vigilant when it comes to when you're out in, again, the wildland-urban interface or in open spaces. Be looking for fire. If you see smoke, call 911. If you're unsure, call 911. Our biggest chance to stop these fires before they become large is to really respond to a robust number of resources to these fires. Here in Orange County, I will tell you, just on a report of a vegetation fire, we're literally sending multiple fire engines. We're sending 3 helicopters. We're calling air tankers. We're sending bulldozers. Just on a report of a wildland fire, we get that the public expects that we're going to respond, again, with everything we have to bear to keep those fires small so they don't become large, damaging wildfires. I appreciate Supervisor Bartlett inviting me to participate in this community meeting, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Chief Fennessy, for your extremely important and timely presentation. I hope everyone was paying close attention. Just a few questions for you. Chief, please tell our viewers just how easy it is for a fire to start here in Southern California.
Well, it's very easy this time of year, most time of the year, is for a fire to start, in our wildland areas here in Southern California. We went a lot of years under drought conditions. And while there has been some recovery, there is a fuel bed, throughout California, and especially here in Southern California, that is dead and is not coming back. And what we'd ask is that people not be lured into thinking that the fire danger is low just because they see, flowering vegetation or a green landscape. I will tell you that people underestimate how fast fire will spread once it's started. That's very common. They'll tell us, wow, it just, it started very quickly. I thought I could stomp it out. Next thing you know, it's on the side of the hill and is moving up towards those houses. Fire is moving in ways and at speeds that we've never experienced before. So please, public community, do not underestimate how fast they'll spread. We often ask, and actually not often, we're regularly asking the community to take care of their defensible space, clear that vegetation away from their structures, give us an opportunity when a fire is in the area, an area to work, to try to defend your structure. And if we can't be there, you've done your work and hopefully the fire will move by without damaging your home. The trick is doing that at the right time of year. When it's hot and dry and the wind is blowing, that's not the right time of year to bring out your weed whacker, your chainsaw, and some of those other things. Take advantage of those times of year to do that. It doesn't take but a spark, for that fire to get into that grass, into that vegetation, and it's going to take off much quicker than you expect.
Chief, I know you already touched upon this, but it might be difficult for our viewers to fully understand. Please tell us just how easy it is for these fires to quickly spread.
I try to put it in layperson's terms. Fires generally will burn, faster uphill than they will downhill. But you start putting wind on these fires, whether it's uphill, downhill, or level ground, you're going to see fires spread, 14 miles an hour, or, basically that's about a 4-minute-mile pace. You're not going to outrun those fires, which is another reason that when we ask the community to evacuate, it's good to evacuate. Nothing is more challenging for us than those that decide they're not going to evacuate because they feel safe. The fire comes close, they realize that maybe they should have evacuated, now they choose that time to go. Anything can happen. You can get stuck in a car, along the roadside. What a lot of people don't realize is that our highest fatality rate or situation are those people that are trapped in their cars that many times waited to the last minute to evacuate. So again, fires move very, very quickly. When we ask you to evacuate, we encourage you to do so, and to do so quickly.
Lastly, Chief, with wildfires being so prevalent this year during the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, are there things Orange County families should do to prepare?
There absolutely are. We in the fire service have had some concerns, talked a little bit about evacuation. Our residents are going to be potentially more reluctant to evacuate if they believe they're going to a shelter where there may not be so good social distancing practiced. What about PPE? What about masks? We want to assure you that we've had lots of conversations with the Red Cross and others that run these shelters. They are cognizant of that. They are applying new ways of ensuring that that's going to happen. So we do encourage you to evacuate and not to be overly concerned about that. However, you need to have a go bag. We say this all the time. We tell the community all year long, have a go bag, not just for wildland fire, but any type of emergency. So what is a go bag? A go bag, and you could have multiple go bags, not just one, but it's something that's you've got in the bag that's going to sustain you and your family for up to 72 hours. Could it be water? Yes. Could it be food? Yes. If you have pets, is it going to be pet food? Yes. Is it going to be medications? Absolutely. What are those things that you're going to need? We experience it all the time. People did not get their medications out of the evacuation area, and they become ill or need to be transported as a result of that. Anything you can think of during this day of pandemic, extra masks, extra sanitizer, all of those things that you would use perhaps at home or when you're at work, you need to now start thinking about packing those items. We talk about Ready, Set, Go, and anybody interested in learning more about what we call Ready, Set, Go, go to ocfa.org. We've got a very comprehensive website. It'll tell you everything from how to be ready, what's required to be set, and more information about Go. So the Go bags, fits into that. You've already prepared. You've got a plan, a family plan during the ready. This is before the fire starts. You've got a plan. Set is, I see smoke in the air. Something doesn't seem right. Now you're checking all that and you're formulating, if I'm told to evacuate, what am I going to do? Perhaps your car is now packed with, your computers, your laptops, those things, your family photos. You're ready to go if the word to evacuate comes down. And if you get the word to go, please don't hesitate, evacuate. You've got your go bag that's going to sustain you for up to 72 hours, and you've got all those items that you've prepared for through Ready, Set, Go. I hope that helps answer the question.
Thank you again, Chief Fennessy, for all that great information. We're so fortunate to have you and the Orange County Fire Authority working tirelessly to keep us safe during these unprecedented times. Large electric utilities, such as Southern California Edison, also play a vital role in emergency preparedness in our region. As such, we're pleased to welcome Caroline Choi, who is Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Southern California Edison, one of the nation's largest electric utilities, and its parent company, Edison International. Caroline Choi will now provide her presentation on SCE's Public Safety Power Shutoff, PSPS program.
Hi, I'm Caroline Choi, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Southern California Edison. I want to thank Supervisor Bartlett for the opportunity to bring together public safety, public health, and SCE to discuss emergency preparedness and the impact of COVID-19 on our operations. We appreciate you and your staff maintaining open lines of communication, and we look forward to the ongoing partnership we have with the county. Let me start by saying we recognize what a stressful time it is and how important it is for you and your family to have electricity while we've been asked to stay at home. We are working to safely provide reliable service to our customers, and we continue to work 24/7 to serve our communities. Our thoughts are with the individuals and families who've been affected and impacted by COVID-19. We are continuing to safely provide reliable electric service, and to do so means critical scheduled outages must continue in order to do the work necessary to protect public health. Postponing this work could inadvertently create more dangerous risks. However, we're doing all we can to minimize the impact of these outages on our customers. During COVID-19, we have enhanced our customer care programs to support our customers during this time of need. We have suspended service disconnections for non-payment and are waiving late fees for residential and small business customers impacted by the pandemic. We have also relaxed customer requirements for people to enroll in our medical baseline and bill assistance programs. Our SC employees also live and work in the communities we serve, and we truly care about our communities. To help Californians who are facing economic hardships, our employees raised almost $260,000, and Edison International donated more than $1 million of shareholder dollars at the start of the pandemic to support local nonprofits, including the Community Action Partnership of Orange County and the Orange County Community Foundation. For more information and the resources we are providing during COVID-19, please visit sce.com/COVID-19. We're in the midst of another active fire season, and our thoughts are with the communities across the state that are suffering losses due to wildfire. Safety is our first and highest priority. We want to provide you the latest information on how we're preparing and how you also can get prepared. Climate change is increasing the severity and duration of the fire season with a greater frequency of catastrophic fires across California. 5 of the state's 20 most destructive wildfires have happened this year. About a quarter of SCE's service area is in high fire risk areas. We've also seen recently longer and more intense heat waves. As a result, we have been doubling down on our efforts to prevent and respond to wildfires. We have learned a lot and have made significant progress since last year with our efforts to prevent wildfires. As in past years, when there is a high risk for a wildfire, we may declare a public safety power shutoff, or PSPS, and temporarily shut off power to your neighborhood to prevent our electric system from becoming the source of an ignition. In 2019, an estimated 3.5% of our 5 million customers were impacted by PSPS. In Orange County, only 2 circuits have been preventatively de-energized due to PSPS, which impacted approximately 3,500 people for less than 24 hours. However, we understand the hardship that power outages can have on our customers, and we do not take lightly any decision to de-energize portions of the electric system. Yet PSPS is a necessary tool to protect our communities from catastrophic wildfires. Patrols conducted after PSPS events have found multiple instances of equipment damage and tree branches contacting power lines that could have ignited a fire. The PSPS events that transpired last year in many ways reinforce the work we're doing to harden infrastructure, bolster situational awareness capabilities, and improve operational practices. Over the past several years, we have invested in a smarter, stronger grid to help reduce the number of customers impacted by power shutoffs. By upgrading and modernizing the grid and dividing the grid into sections, we are reducing the scale of PSPS events. Combined with our weather technology and modeling, we are improving our ability to impact as few customers as necessary. This year, we are continuing to aggressively deploy grid hardening technology, which will help reduce the frequency of PSPS over time under normally expected weather conditions. We recognize the difficulty a PSPS event can create, and we are committed to supporting and assisting our customers. We're continuing outreach to communities prior to peak wildfire season to help with preparedness. We're also improving our communications to customers to make information more readily available and easy to access. We're increasing our collaboration with stakeholders and other partners such as community-based organizations to better assist vulnerable customers. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are exploring and implementing changes to our PSPS approach, including recognizing greater impact of de-energizations for customers working, learning, and caring for loved ones at home. To better understand how we can reduce wildfire risk and prevent wildfires, it's helpful to understand fire science. The triangle you see in the middle illustrates the 3 elements needed for a fire ignition. Hazardous weather and fuel conditions coexist throughout SCE's service area every fire season. Our mitigation strategy is to assess the conditions for weather and fuel to determine when the risk is high and to eliminate the heat component by preventing power line-related ignitions during those times. This can be done through a variety of ways, much of which is highlighted in our wildfire mitigation plan. We've worked hard to develop a comprehensive wildfire mitigation plan to help protect our customers and communities. As I mentioned, this includes hardening our infrastructure, bolstering situational awareness capabilities, and enhancing operational practices to keep our communities safe. This year, we are deploying more than 850 weather stations and using 161 wildfire cameras to better forecast potential wildfire conditions and be more effective in responding to fire events when they occur. Replacing more than 700 miles of power lines with insulated wire and installing fast-acting fuses at more than 3,000 locations to help reduce wildfire risk. Conducting enhanced inspections of our infrastructure in high fire risk areas, inspecting more than 1.1 million trees and trimming or removing trees that may come into contact with power lines, and deploying and testing new technologies to make informed decisions on where to target our work. We also have an emergency response team that is readily available and is trained to ensure we can work seamlessly with federal, state, and local emergency management organizations. Nothing is more important to us than the safety of our communities. Public safety power shutoffs are one preventative measure we use to help protect our communities against wildfire. We only shut off power when weather conditions pose a significant threat, such as strong winds coupled with low humidity that could blow debris into power lines, possibly igniting a fire. The investments we're making in hardening infrastructure and bolstering situational awareness capabilities will reduce the likelihood of using public safety power shutoffs by 30%. We use several tools to monitor current conditions before shutting off a circuit, including predicting severe weather conditions using computerized weather simulations, assessing fire potential risk, deploying our crews to do real-time observations at critical locations. Power will only be shut off after the weather data, confirmed by SCE crews in the field, show there is an imminent danger of objects such as tree limbs, palm fronds, or other vegetation blowing into power lines. The shutoff will be done in consultation with local officials and emergency response personnel, such as local fire departments. Please know that it is not a decision we take lightly. It is done to keep you and your community safe. We remain committed to providing timely notification to potentially impacted customers, local governments, and public safety agencies before, during, and after a PSPS event. Here is our typical timeline for PSPS notifications. We aim to provide priority notification to first responders, public safety partners, and local governments 3 days before a potential PSPS event. Additional updates are made again at 24-hour intervals. We begin initial notification to customers up to 2 days in advance of a potential PSPS event. Notifications are then made to these customers in 24-hour intervals to provide updates. Before a potential power shutoff, we make every effort to notify customers at the 1 to 4 hour warning stage. Given the unpredictability of shifting weather during PSPS events, implementation of this timeframe may vary. If extreme fire weather is present and dangerous conditions are validated by our field resources, we will shut off the power and provide notification. Once extreme fire weather subsides to safe levels and after inspections and patrols of our equipment, we will begin restoring power to affected communities and will notify agencies and customers. We have been improving our communication to keep customers informed during a PSPS event and to easily access important information. We have a dedicated PSPS page on our website as a one-stop shop for information before and during events, including fire weather and PSPS information. There is a simplified map allowing visitors to view PSPS alerts and notifications and identify the locations of our community crew vehicles and community resource centers. There is also an address search functionality which identifies if a location is under consideration, de-energized, or not impacted by a public safety power shutoff. We continue to provide PSPS notifications via email, text, and phone. We are also enhancing our system to allow customers to select to hear and read PSPS notifications in the preferred language. We've expanded our notification tools, including zip code level alerts and the Nextdoor app. We are also working with technology partners such as Google to provide area-based PSPS alerts. It is important to remember to sign up or verify that you are signed up to receive any or all of these alerts. During PSPS events, community crew vehicles and community resource centers may be available for customers in affected areas. Community resource centers are brick-and-mortar locations that SCE has contracted with to serve customers during extended outages, and community crew vehicles are mobile and are deployed to different locations as needed. Customers can charge their personal mobile devices and continue to receive updates about the outage. Snacks and water are also provided. Agents are available to help customers update their account information and assist with questions. Safe physical distancing practices are observed. We also offer programs and rebates to help you prepare for emergencies, including power shutoffs. Our Self-Generation Incentive Program, or SGIP, offers a range of rebates and incentives to eligible residential and business customers who want to generate their own power. If you're a customer living in a high fire risk area, you can also take advantage of available battery storage incentives. We also have rebates for portable power stations and portable generators for well water customers. A portable power system can help power small devices for a limited time to help you be more resilient during an emergency. If you purchase qualifying models, you could receive a $50 rebate. SCE has identified a small segment of customers in high fire risk areas that are dependent on well water for general home use. When customers lose power, they lose the ability to pump water, impacting all water use. For these customers, we offer a $300 rebate towards a qualifying backup generator to provide power for the well pump. We also increase the rebate amount to $500 for income-qualified customers. We continue to engage our customers, stakeholders, and partners to inform, educate, and receive feedback about our wildfire mitigation activities and public safety power shutoffs. Some of these activities include hosting community meetings in high fire risk areas, which were done online this year due to COVID-19. Engaging local and tribal governments, public safety partners, essential service providers such as telecom and water, and statewide and local community-based organizations, especially those who assist our most vulnerable populations, to educate and help them prepare for all situations that could result in a power outage. Ongoing multi-channel communications, including radio, digital advertising, and direct mail. I know I've shared a lot of information. All of the information, resources, and programs can be found on our website at sce.com/wildfire. Here's also what you can do to help us and help you be prepared. Give feedback. We want to hear from you. You can submit feedback or questions via email, social media, or our customer support lines. Sign up. If you haven't already, sign up for outage alerts, including PSPS. You can also verify your contact information. If you depend on electrically powered medical equipment, plan to have a backup power source. You may be eligible for SCE's Medical Baseline Program and can find out about more information on how to apply on our website. Be prepared. An emergency can happen at any time. You can help your families with a safety preparedness plan, some basic supplies, and advanced planning. Whether a pandemic, an earthquake, or a wildfire, preparedness can help everyone cope better and stay safer. Thank you for your support as we make critical upgrades and take measures to keep our customers and communities safe.
Thank you, Caroline. I know our viewers very much appreciate the outstanding work you and SCE are doing on our behalf. Just a few questions for you, Caroline. How do we sign up for public safety power shutoff alerts?
You can go to sce.com/wildfire to sign up for PSPS alerts using either your address or a zip code. And you can get those alerts by text, email, or voice. Customers can also choose a preferred language to read or hear notifications. Aside from English, the additional languages are Spanish, Cantonese, Mandarin, Vietnamese, Korean, and Tagalog. And if customers have a Nextdoor app, they can choose to sign up for alerts that way as well.
Also, how can we find out more about SCE's customer programs to be prepared for PSPS?
I'm going to refer to some notes on this one because we offer a number of programs and rebates. If you go to our website at sce.com/wildfire, you can find information about the programs and rebates we offer customers to help them prepare for emergencies such as earthquakes, wildfires, or outages, including public safety power shutoffs. If you're a customer living in a high fire risk area, there are available battery storage incentives that you can take advantage of. In addition, you can find information about our $50 rebate for portable power stations and visit our marketplace to see qualifying models. For those who are interested, you can find information about our self-generation incentive program as well as our solar programs, and you can compare rooftop solar options on our new online SCE solar marketplace site and receive a $500 discount on your system price. There's also a program that provides a free home solar system for qualifying low-income or fixed-income families. Finally, if you depend on electrically powered medical equipment, you may be eligible and apply for our medical baseline program and also find more information about assistance for critical care customers.
Lastly, with the recent heat waves, the state has been calling on people to conserve electricity in order to avoid rotating outages. Can you please share more about what rotating outages are and how we can get more information about them?
During a heat wave, electrical demand typically rises as more customers use their air conditioning. A rotating outage becomes necessary when electrical demand outstrips available electric supply in real time. The California Independent System Operator, or CAISO, which manages California's electric grid, typically orders the investor-owned utilities, including SCE, to immediately reduce electric load by turning off service. When we get a CAISO emergency order, we typically have less than 10 minutes before we begin rotating outages. A rotating outage typically lasts 1 hour. SCE manages and rotates the power outage across groups of customers throughout the service area. They are geographically dispersed so that no one community bears the brunt of the event should CAISO rotating outages become necessary. And every customer has a rotating outage number on their bill. Now, CAISO rotating outages are extremely rare. Before the events in mid-August, we hadn't had rotating outages in 19 years. But they are a really good reminder to be prepared for any emergency, including rotating outages. For more information about rotating outages, you can visit our website at sce.com/rotating-outage. Again, thank you, Supervisor Bartlett, for the opportunity to provide this really important information to the residents of Orange County.
Thanks again, Caroline, for all that you and Southern California Edison are doing for us. As I mentioned, prior to OCFA Fire Chief Fennessy's presentation, in addition to serving on the Orange County Board of Supervisors, I also serve on the Orange County Fire Authority Board of Directors. I mention this again only because, due to the extreme weather forecasted for the coming months, as well as one of the most severe wildfire seasons our state has ever experienced, Southern California Edison has graciously offered to increase the effectiveness of Orange County Fire Authority's aerial response. Through a proposed 83-day lease agreement, SCE will provide funding for a CH-47 helitanker, which is capable of dropping more water and/or fire retardant than any other helicopter operating today. Due to the dire need, as all fire resources are being stretched beyond limits, SCE made this generous offer after determining the helitanker provides significant benefits for wildfire suppression, protecting lives and property, including mitigating against damage to SCE's transmission and distribution system, in addition to increasing firefighter safety. So a big thank you once again to Southern California Edison, which is also a sponsor of our South County Emergency Preparedness Summit. Another of the bodies on which I serve as a member is the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station's Community Engagement Panel, or CEP. The CEP holds public meetings at least 4 times annually and is charged with the safety, stewardship, and community engagement to guide the decommissioning process for San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, commonly referred to as SONGS. In addition, I also serve on Congressman Mike Levin's SONGS Safety Task Force. The decommissioning of SONGS is of great interest to my South County cities nearest San Onofre, including San Clemente, San Juan Capistrano, and Dana Point. As such, we are very pleased to have with us today Doug Bowder, Vice President and Chief Nuclear Officer for Southern California Edison. Doug Bowder joined SCE as Plant Manager for Songs in 2009 after working for 20 years at the Calvert Cliffs Nuclear Plant in Maryland. Doug also served as SCE's Vice President of Operational Services, managing the company's extensive safety and security programs before returning to Songs in 2018. Doug Bowder will now provide his presentation on Songs Emergency Preparedness.
Hello, my name is Doug Bowder, Vice President for Decommissioning and Chief Nuclear Officer at San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you about emergency planning here today. How we address emergency planning has changed a lot since the plant was shut down and permanently retired in 2013, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. What hasn't changed is our commitment to support and partner with local first responders. In doing so, we ensure the highest level of safety for the community and for our employees at San Onofre. Whether operating or whether in decommissioning, safety remains our first priority at San Onofre. Southern California Edison and its co-owners made the decision to retire Songs in June of 2013. That brought about the first major change in our approach to emergency preparedness. The differences between an operating reactor and one that is shut down are significant. Reactors operate with tremendous heat, water, and they produce steam. Though rare, the potential for events requiring an emergency response is greater. Once we retired Songs and removed the nuclear fuel from the reactor, that potential dropped drastically. By 2015, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and Federal Emergency Management Agency both found that there was no longer a need for a 10-mile emergency planning zone around the plant, alert sirens, or potassium iodide pills. We then began moving all nuclear fuel from spent fuel pools to dry storage. In August, we safely completed fuel transfer operations, and now all spent nuclear fuel at Songs is in dry storage. That further reduced the risks at the site. To give you some perspective, when Songs was operating, we had 82 emergency action levels, which are potential scenarios that could occur at the plant. When the plant was retired and the fuel removed from the reactor, we were left with 18. Now with all the fuel in dry storage, we have a total of 3. None of these involve an off-site release of radioactive materials. In June, Southern California Edison and 5 local government agencies announced that we will continue our long-standing collaborative emergency preparedness activities related to Songs through an extended agreement. The 5 jurisdictions are the counties of Orange and San Diego, and the cities of San Clemente, Dana Point, and San Juan Capistrano. The agreement outlines the responsibilities of each participant regarding emergency preparedness. The agreement will provide the 5 local jurisdictions more than $12.6 million for the 8-year deconstruction period through 2029 and more than $9.9 million for the 20-year period through 2049, by which time the spent nuclear fuel could potentially be removed from Songs. However, financial support for off-site responders will continue until the fuel is actually relocated to an off-site, federally funded facility. Songs maintains an emergency plan. That includes having trained and qualified emergency responders on site 24/7. We maintain their proficiency through emergency response drills and training, which includes coordinating with off-site partners. Songs is a member of an emergency planning committee of local, state, and federal agencies. The committee meets regularly to continuously improve plans to protect the public's health and safety. Safety is our top priority at Songs. It will remain so as we continue to work through the decommissioning and dismantlement of the nuclear generating station. Safety is also one of our core decommissioning principles, along with stewardship and community engagement. We invite you to visit our website or one of our social media sites to learn more about the work taking place at Songs. In the spirit of openness, we use our website in order to make our most important plans available to the public. You can also attend a quarterly community engagement panel meeting where we provide timely updates on our progress as well as address questions from the community.
Thank you, Doug, for your very informative presentation. I'm sure our viewers were glued to your every word. I do have a few questions for you, Doug. With all the spent nuclear fuel in dry storage, how does that change the safety posture at SONGS?
With the spent nuclear fuel in dry storage, the safety posture at the site is greatly improved, as it is with any decommissioning nuclear station where the fuel is safely stored in dry storage. Dry storage is passively cooled and operated. There are no active systems required to make it work, and it's just a very stable environment for the fuel.
So given that, what types of plans does SCE have in place for other kinds of emergencies at SONGS?
Southern California Edison maintains an emergency response organization at the station 24/7. The plan includes response for normal things that might occur through the decommissioning process, such as spills and things that would require a response. We also maintain close coordination with off-site agencies on our drill plans, and most significantly, we have an understanding in place with Camp Pendleton, such that the Camp Pendleton Marine Base actually will respond first if there is an incident at the station.
Lastly, what can members of our community do to learn more about SONGS or ask questions?
Community members are welcome to look at the songscommunity.com website for key information around decommissioning activities. We also have a hotline that you can call into if you have questions about what's going on at the plant. We also hold quarterly community engagement panel meetings, at least for now virtually. We hope to be able to hold those meetings in person in the future. And we would also like to be able to hold physical plant tours again in the future once we've been able to work through the COVID-19 restrictions.
Thank you again to Doug Bowder and Southern California Edison for their participation and support of our virtual South County Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020. I also want to thank our other excellent presenters for sharing their insights as well. We hope our program helped you to better understand some of the ways Orange County is working hard to protect our residents in the event of a major emergency, as well as how you can also better prepare yourselves and your families. Again, the South County Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020 is being presented virtually on Cox Communications Channel 39, airing September 30 through October 7 at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you miss any part of the program, you can watch it anytime on my Facebook and YouTube pages, which you can easily access by visiting my website at supbartlett.com. That's SUPBARTLETT.com. While you're there, I encourage you to sign up to receive my weekly e-newsletter, which includes important information on a variety of issues affecting South County, including COVID-19, homelessness, transportation, and much more. My door is always open, and I look forward to hearing from you if I can ever be of assistance. Thank you again for watching the South County Emergency Preparedness Summit 2020.